Hey guys, so today I'm going to be trying out and reviewing the Pure Cosmetics 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Longwear Foundation and Concealer. So this was pretty interesting when it came out because Pure came out with 100 shades in their initial launch, which is pretty much unheard of. And I thought it would be terribly hard to find my shade. But on the Pure Cosmetics website, you can go to the foundation and push Find My Shade, and you can input whatever foundation shades that you already wear in other brands, and it will recommend a shade for you to try out in the new foundation. So I went ahead and did that, and the shade I got recommended is LP4. Okay, so this foundation is $36, and it is a skincare infused longwear foundation and concealer that instantly helps conceal, correct, and improve skin's appearance with flawless looking coverage in 100 universal shades. So this is a cruelty-free, paraben-free, gluten-free, and vegan-friendly foundation. So this also is a pretty cool foundation just because of the packaging. So you have a pump on top for the foundation application, and then you can unscrew the top, and there is a doe foot which has a hole in it so that you can get foundation up the pump. It's pretty interesting, never seen anything quite like it. So I'm going to go through and show you guys me applying this, and let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to start out with this side of my face. I'm just going to pump a little bit. That's one pump, so I'm just going to dot that on my face. And then I'm going to blend that out with my Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. Alright, so there's one side of my face. I think it looks pretty good. It covered pretty well. I'd say it's like a high medium coverage. And I feel like the shade match is pretty nice, so I definitely would recommend going through Pure's website to figure out what shade you should wear, because just guessing is probably gonna not work out with the 100 shades. That's a little much to guess through. And I think that it applied really nicely with the sponge. It blended out really nice. It's not streaky. It just looks very smooth and not really makeup-y at all. So I do really like that. And then for the other side of my face, I'm going to be using my Sephora Pro Mini Flawless Airbrush. This is the 56.5, so it's like a mini of the 56 brush. I really love this brush for foundation and concealer, so I'm going to be using that on this side and see what kind of coverage we get on that one. Alright, and there is the other side with the brush. I think they both look really good, so just whichever you feel like. I don't feel like one gave any more coverage than the other side. Maybe a tiny bit more with the brush, but not that's too noticeable. So I feel like it really looks good on both sides. And it has like a satin finish to it. It's not too dewy and it's not too matte so far. So next, I'm going to try it out as a concealer and see how that works. So here, I'm gonna use the doe foot and see how concealer works with this. Alright, and there is as concealer. I feel like it did cover pretty well since this is a pretty high coverage foundation, so it definitely does work as concealer. It is creasing a bit already, so this is probably one that's going to have to be set with a powder. But, I mean, it looks really nice so far. It doesn't look dry or cakey anywhere, which is mainly what I look for in a foundation. If it looks dry and cakey, I'm definitely not going to like it, and it doesn't look like that right now. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the rest of my makeup and then come back and show you how it looks. And then we will see if it's oxidized at all. Hopefully it doesn't. And hopefully it looks nice. Okay guys, so I did finish up the rest of my makeup. I think it does look really nice. And it did start setting down a little bit more matte, so I went ahead and used my Anastasia Dewy Set Mist over it just to give it a more dewy finish. So I do really like how that works, but if you like a more matte look, it's not completely matte, it's definitely more of like a satin matte finish, but it does look really nice. It isn't looking cakey anywhere or really makeup-y. It just looks really nice on the skin. I did go ahead and set my under eyes with some translucent powder just because it was creasing quite a bit, but after I set it, it's not creasing anymore and it looks really nice. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. So I'm going to go ahead and wear this all day and then check in with you guys at the end of the night and let you know how it wore. And then also I'm going to try to do an update after I've worn it a few times and see if I like it better with certain primers and such. So I will see you guys at the end of the night. Hey guys, so it is the end of the night here and I've been wearing this foundation for about 10 hours now and I think it looks pretty good. Usually my foundations will look really dry at the end of the day just because my skin just sucks the moisture up. And it does look a tiny bit dry and like gathered around my nose and on my chin, but it doesn't look nearly as bad as some foundations do. And I think it looks really nice on my forehead actually. And I feel like it did oxidize a tiny bit. I'm not sure if you can tell on camera, but it went a little bit more pink. As for a concealer, it's not bad, but it does look a little bit dry just after I set it with a powder, and I don't think I could go without setting it with a powder because it was Crease City. But I will be trying it out a little bit more and then I will update you guys, so I will see you then. Alright guys, so here we are a few days later. I've tried out this foundation for about 6 days now, so I wanted to let you know my final thoughts on this. So this is more of a satin matte foundation, like I said in the beginning, and I feel like the best way that I've found to use this is with the, let me grab it, the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil. I really like it with this. It just adds a really nice hydration to the foundation since I do have dry skin. So if you don't have dry skin, I mean, I don't know, but this is a very smoothing foundation. I feel like it looks really nice on the skin all day long. And even though I do have dry skin and it is a more matte foundation, it doesn't cling to my dry patches at all. So I do really like that about it. The biggest con, I would say, is that it oxidizes. And it's more like it oxidizes to the undertone, not necessarily like darker. It just pulls more pink since this is a pink undertone foundation. So like, it looks fine on camera, I think, but you know when you're in the car and you pull down the visor, you see like the face to neck ratio, it just looks very pink. So there's that. Maybe if I went with a neutral undertone it would look better, not sure. So You'll have to let me know if you've tried this and if it oxidizes on you, but I feel like this pulls very pink once it settles down. And as a concealer, I do think it looks really nice. I do have to set it because otherwise it will crease a lot. But under the eyes, it looks very smooth and nice and doesn't look dry or crepey or anything. And I do like to set this with a more dewy setting spray just because, again, I have dry skin. So adding all the moisture I can to this, I just think it looks a lot better on me. But it lasts throughout the day. It doesn't transfer a lot, even though I do add all those hydration steps. So if you didn't do that, I feel like it'd be pretty transfer proof. You'll have to let me know on that one. But I do overall really like this foundation if I'm going for more of a matte foundation. And I do really like the coverage on it as well. It looks really nice. It adds, again, like medium to full coverage. I like to stick with more medium coverage just because since it oxidizes, it looks more dramatic when I build it up more to full coverage. And I feel like it does look very skin-like. It isn't very makeup-y looking. And I do like this applied best with a beauty sponge, but I do like most of my foundations applied with a beauty sponge, so maybe that's just personal preference. I don't know. But I do feel like it adds in a nice hydration. Hydration. Love the hydration. But this isn't like a super drying matte foundation, so I can work with it. I don't feel like this settles into creases very bad either. Again, it just looks very smoothing and skin-like overall, so looks good. So I would definitely recommend this even if you do have more dry skin, because just adding in a hydrating moisturizing primer underneath I feel like would make a huge difference with this if you do feel like it's too dry. But I feel like the hardest thing about this foundation is just finding your shade. They don't have all shades in store. They have some shades in Ulta in store, but not the full range. So I, again, would definitely recommend doing the Find Your Shade on Pure's website to get an educated guess on what your shade is. Again, I followed that and this is the shade I got. I feel like it is a good match before it oxidizes, so maybe go a shade lighter? I don't know. But let me know if you've tried this foundation and how it worked out for you, and I will see you in the next video.